Hello and welcome to Jazz Tonight. I'm Michael Jacobi, executive producer of Jazz on the Plaz and host of Raising the Standards in Santa Cruz on KSCO. Delighted as we continue the summer of 2017, our homage to Billie Holiday, and with us in the studio, dear old friend Tony Lindsay. Hello, my friend.
How you doing?
My brother.
It's been, what, a year?
It has been a year.
Or is it 2 years?
A couple of years since you've been here.
Yeah.
I don't know, divide the number of times you've been to Europe by 5.
Oh, you guys got to have me here like once a month.
That's right. Well, you know, to quote the great Chuck Berry, you move around like a wayward summer breeze.
That's right. And see, a lot of times I'm passing right through here, so I can stop by and,
That's true.
you know,
That's
get
true.
on the air and say, what's up, Los Gatos?
And in case I forget, we now have a film of you making that pitch.
Cool. Yes.
Who has more Grammys, you or Mancini?
Probably Mancini.
You got 11, right?
11. But see, there were 8 of the regular Grammys, and then we got 3 of the Latin Grammys.
Yeah.
That's how we got. So, and that was the first year that they did the Latin Grammys with Santana. We performed at that one.
All your Grammys are with Santana? No,
All of them.
I thought you were involved in another project that won a Grammy.
Well, I'm sure I've worked with other artists who, with me having me on there, they probably got a Grammy because I graced their project.
As much a wonderful honor as it is, they're really cheap statues, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think
they're like plastic.
I'm not sure if they. I'm not sure if it's real gold on them. But you know what? I got the statues. So I'm actually working on one of my own now.
Okay.
Because CD that I did back a few years ago, after Santana decided that he wanted to change the band, and I've been able to pay a little bit more of attention to that.
Yeah.
And I got picked up by the smooth jazz people, and they're just loving that CD.
As a vocalist?
Yeah. See, because now the smooth jazz stuff is changing over. They're not so much instrumentalists anymore. They want to add vocalists to it. So,
smooth jazz, and I'll take us both on a reminiscent walk through time. But when I ran KPEN, the years when we met, which was in the old mill, which was in the late '70s.
Actually, I didn't
early
get to California till 1980. So
okay, so I was there till like '83. But the old mill was this marvelous shopping center that was one of the first enclosed ones, and it had the mill wheel and all the bells and whistles. But a buddy of ours, Bob Clark, owned a restaurant called Bourbon Street. And a cute story. And KPEN was upstairs. And I remember Bob and I became very good friends. And he had made friends with me thinking I was very wealthy because I owned a radio station. And I had made friends with him thinking he was very wealthy because he owned a restaurant until one day we're having a drink and he goes, I got a lot of partners. And I said, I don't own the station. we luckily still stayed friends.
Yeah.
But you in those days, you first appeared there with Danny Hall.
Yeah, man. Boy, those were the days.
Ghost of Christmas Past. Yeah.
Between there and Lord John's down in Santa Clara. And we also played here in Los Gatos, a place called The Seasons.
Seasons, which is now Catamount.
Yes.
In Old Town.
And we also played in Mountain Charlie's.
Yeah, Mountain Charlie's. And we would...
all those places, man.
I had a buddy that I would say who would measure distances by the amount of beer he could drink. I said,
wow.
I said, how far is Mountain Charlie's from San Mateo? He goes, a 6-pack. I said, those are the bad old days, kids. Don't pay attention to that. But we prided ourselves on exposing local talent. And you guys, were not only local, you were very talented.
We thank you very much for that because I'm going to tell you, it's always great when you have support from the community, whether it's radio or TV, all that, because there's a lot of local talent out here, man, and they never get seen.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I tell the people at the San Jose Jazz Festival and all these festivals, Jazz on the Plaz, which we're here for. I tell them all the time, there's local talent that we need to tap into and, give some exposure because there's some good talent right back in the day, man. We had the Chris Kane band.
Oh, and Chris is still around. We've had him here a couple of years ago.
Group called the Ensemble with, I mean, the list just goes on. Danny Hull Quintet and, Joe Chirino, and it just keeps going.
Now, you said when you got to California in the early 80s, you're from New York, boy?
From New York, upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
Kingston, right by Woodstock.
Really?
Yeah.
That's on, because I've driven from Albany to Cooperstown, so that's up in that area, right?
Yeah, Albany's further north.
Okay. All right.
So you hit New York City is Kingston is right in between Albany and New York City.
So for Albany, you subtract 10 degrees of Fahrenheit and add 4 feet of snow. I mean, that's another world up there.
It's freaking cool. I went to school at Albany State University.
Oh, did you really? Oh my God.
And
that
I'm
is-
telling you,
that's
man,
tough.
that's what made me move to California, living up there.
Yeah,
I went, no,
absolutely.
I'm not living in this anymore.
So early '80s, how'd the Santana thing come about? And
You know-
Carlos had been his original group started in the early '70s, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was before my time.
That was a little bit
I was
before your
like,
time,
I was born.
Yeah,
no,
right.
I'm just joking. But with the Danny Hull quintet, and then we changed so much that we finally got Ronnie Beck in the band playing drums, and that was right before we changed the name of the group to Spangalang.
Right.
So Ronnie was in the band, and Ronnie used to play when Dave Garibaldi left. Ronnie filled in for Dave Garibaldi with Tower of Power.
Yeah.
And at that time,
And Danny played for Tower of Power, right?
he played with the Doobie
The
Brothers.
Doobie Brothers, okay. They all mixed together.
It's all the same, yeah.
Yeah.
So Chester Thompson, the keyboard player, was with Tower of Power at the time that Ronnie Beck was playing drums. Then years later, Chester left Tower and he went to play with Santana.
Yeah.
So when Chester would come home, when they'd come home from the road, him and Ronnie were still good buddies, so he would come out to see Spangalang all the time. And he came in one time, he says, hey man, Santana's auditioning new singers. If you're interested, I'll put your name in the pot with. I said, yeah, what the heck? And that was it. I
25 years.
Yeah, I did an audition and then, did 25 years with Santana, and what a great experience that was.
And did you ever believe during all that time that ultimately it would end up to be Preface for where you are now and what you're doing?
It's one of those kind of things that when I was a kid, when I started at 7 years old, you dream of all this stuff. Boy, I'd like to do this and do that. But when it starts happening, you go, really?
Yeah.
Is this, so stuff started happening, and I was like, wow, man, I'm living this dream now.
Well, and people are always saying, why do musicians live like there's no tomorrow? Because there might not be.
That's true.
That's why. So, and you just may wake up the next day and pinch yourself and you're still asleep.
Well, I'll tell you this. Doing what I do, I don't feel like I've ever worked a day in my life.
Yeah.
Don't feel like it. I just have so much fun. I feel sorry for people that, have jobs that they just hate and they have to do it because they got to take care of their families or whatever they need. I've never had that feeling. I love what I do. And,
Well, let's talk about after the 25 years in Santana, and at the time maybe when you left, you didn't know where you were moving on to, or you were quite ready yet.
Yeah.
But there was just around the corner a terrific solo career, which you're in the midst of, and you're also doing. Talk about what you're doing these days. I know you're going to Europe tomorrow.
Yes.
And you're working with
It's
Santana,
a Santana tribute band. They call it The Magic of Santana. But see, the cool part about it is these guys were smart enough to, a guy, Alex Lidgerwood, who used to be the lead singer with Santana years ago, too. Matter of fact, I'm the one who replaced Alex.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Santana, is a little bit like Basie. I remind me of Dennis Rollins, who replaced Joe Williams with Basie. They have a number of singers, all of which have done very well, and Santana's the same thing.
so I get to do that. I go over there and do this with Alex. And, it was funny because with those guys, we had the conversation a couple times about, yeah, man, maybe we need to, go try to take this to the U.S. I said, nah, don't do that.
Yeah.
I said, there's a lot of Santana tribute bands in the U.S. that are real good.
Yeah.
And you don't want to mess with that. I said,
And one of them was Carlos himself that's
Exactly.
still touring. That's a little tough.
and
to
I said,
go
man,
up
you
against.
guys you have Europe all to yourselves. Especially when Santana's not touring over there, you got it. And there might be some other Santana tribute bands in Europe. I'm sure it is.
What do you, from an audience standpoint, do you find a lot of young people?
Yeah, it's a good mixed crowd. Mixed crowd now. Because I'm still a young guy myself.
Yeah, I know.
So,
You're a bit delusional, but I'm glad to hear that. I want to take a moment to thank our new sponsors. This ties in real well with you, O'Connor Hospital.
Hey.
they can help.
I might need them someday.
A member of Verity Health, and we're so grateful for them stepping up and helping bring this wonderful program to you. Well, you're here for Jazz on the Plaza.
Yes.
And I will be honest with you. It's
Uh-oh.
I don't tribute bands is not a big thing for me, and you're not a tribute band. But when I first saw you, saw your Tony Lindsay and the Soul Soldiers at the Monterey Jazz Festival, I said, oh, they're gonna do kind of a Marvin Gaye. It's kind of a tribute thing. I was absolutely blown away. It's, using the word tribute is so wrong.
We mix it
what
up.
you are is just a great, tight, in the pocket band.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're doing Marvin Gaye is not unlike last week Paula West doing Ella Fitzgerald. Doesn't make a difference. You're just doing a different genre.
Well, see, we mix it up.
Yeah.
Because we not only we do Marvin Gaye, we do Bill Withers,
Yeah.
we do Lou Rawls,
Yeah.
we do Sam Cooke,
Yeah.
we do Donny Hathaway, and sometimes we have a female with us, and when we have her with us, then we do Aretha Franklin and Nancy Wilson.
You do Carole King.
Etta James.
Yeah.
We mix it up a lot.
That's
and
neat.
it is so cool. You know who suggested that we put this together was Tim Jackson at the
Absolutely.
that
Tim, our
does,
buddy, who's here every
yeah.
year with the Monterey Jazz Festival All-Stars, the kids. Tim was the artistic director for the Monterey Jazz Festival. But
he
you
was,
knocked him dead there. That was wonderful.
he was the first one to matter of fact, Tim gave me a date at the Coombra Jazz Center.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have the band together. He said, okay, I'm gonna give you this date, you put it together, and we're gonna do this. And I went, wow. And the timing was perfect because 2 days before I talked to Tim is when Carlos, I got the call from the Santana office saying that he wanted to change things up. And then 2 days later, I get this call from Tim, and I went, your timing is unbelievable. Yeah. And it was great. I'm so glad that we put it together, man, because we've done so much with it. Here it is. We're going a year and a half into this now. And I've done so many venues with the San Jose Jazz Festival, Monterey Jazz Festival, playing Yoshi's, playing this place, that, and it's just continuing on.
Synchronicity grand.
Love it.
And, we're going to take a little break here from our good friends at O'Connor Hospital, and we, again, thank you. Kudos to them. And later on the season, we'll be able to spend a program talking to one of their administrators and find out about what's happening at O'Connor. I also want to take a moment to remind you folks, in order to help keep jazz alive, which everyone has been kind enough to step up over the last 15 years, get out, buy a jazz card. They're worth, they cost $100, they're worth $700. Still time to buy gala tickets to see Herb Alpert and Lanny Hall.
Yeah.
We were talking about that at lunch. Did an interview with him the other day. What a good guy. So we're excited about that. Participate in the raffle, but just make this as special to you as you are to us and Jazz in the Plaza is to our town. We'll be back in just a second. This is Jazz Tonight.
At O'Connor Hospital, we're restoring health together. Step by step, together. Because care is better together. O'Connor, together in health. At O'Connor Hospital, we're shortening your wait time. Because in an emergency, every minute counts. This is our commitment to you. O'Connor Hospital, together in health.
And welcome back to Jazz Tonight. Michael Jacobi with you as we continue our conversation with Tony Lindsay, who is joining us, I say tonight, but by the time you see this, it will have been last week. And you better not have missed it, because it's going to be a hell of a show.
Oh, it's going to be fun, man.
Tony Lindsay and the Soul Soldiers. So how did this, how did it come about? You're saying Tim...
Yeah, Tim Jackson,
we'd like to book your group. Yes, we could be booked.
Well, you know, it was weird.
Now I got to go find a group.
Now, the phone call came 2 days after Santana decided to change the band, but I'd gone up to the Coombra probably about maybe 2 weeks before that, because Ashwin Batish was playing there, and my buddy Myron Dove was playing bass with him. So I went up there and Tim was talking. He says, "Man," he says, I got a date here, you know, in January." He says, "And we had the Ray Charles project come here with you, you know, before." He says, "This time," he said, "I want to give you a date, but can you bring something different?" He said, "Remember that idea we were talking about with the Bill Withers thing and all that?" And I went, "Yeah." I said, "If I can, you know, find the time to do it," I said, "it'd be great." So then the Santana thing came about, and for some reason, I got that call from Tim 2 days later, and I said, "Well, your timing is great, because now I'm not doing the Santana band anymore, so I can put this together."
Now, as we were talking about at lunch, is Nicholas Beard was with you guys
Yes.
for a while. You just didn't like put up, and I hate the word backup or side musicians, but you put together solo artists.
Right.
And then
Right.
kind of they're all headliners.
Right,
But they're
exactly.
together. They don't get billing, but still, they're a headliner.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I
It says Tony Lindsay.
No, but
but that's okay.
Yeah, but when I do the advertising, putting the posters
Absolutely,
together,
you put 'em all on there.
everybody's picture and name and everything is on there.
right.
I told those guys, you know, when I was putting it together, I said, look, I could do this by myself.
Yeah.
I said, but you know, I know what everybody's trying to do. I said, we can expand our fan base if we do this.
By 5, yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
I said, I think it's a great thing, and you know, we could sew up the whole Bay Area with this thing if everybody participates right.
And you can plug in guest stars.
Exactly.
Whenever you want.
You can switch up. And you know, it's cool because there are so many pieces that are interchangeable, and that it works.
Tell me the setup for tonight. And again, folks, when you're seeing it, it will have been last week. I will tell you this, that we're recording this on July 5th.
Yes.
So yesterday we celebrated our country's freedom, and tonight we celebrate its music. So we're real pleased with
You
that.
know what?
That's a good turn of
yes,
phrase.
it is.
I'll use
And
it
you should
tonight.
be here.
Absolutely, or should have been here. So talk about who's in the group.
Well, the other guy singing with me, Mr. Fred Ross from San Francisco. And then we have Alan Leon on keyboards, and he also sings backup vocals. David Jones, who is a bass player that I keep him working with Spangalang all the time. Besides this, Dazan Claiborne on drums, who plays with a bunch of jazz folks in the Bay Area. I mean, he's like, Dazan is a real big-time cat. David Shul on guitar, who used to be a member of Michael Franti's and Spearhead group. He was, matter of fact, wrote a lot of songs with Franti.
Who does the Lou Rawls?
Fred.
Fred.
We mix it up because we can all do that stuff.
But who can do Sam Cooke? I mean, how?
Oh yeah, we have.
How great was
yeah.
Sam Cooke?
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean,
We got good. When you get good singers.
I know you were born in the late '60s, but
Yeah,
you can still.
that's right.
You
Actually,
remember Sam Cooke?
Actually, I was born in the '50s.
Me too. But you remember Sam Cooke?
Oh heck yeah, you kidding?
Sam Cooke was just scary good.
I'm gonna tell you, if it wasn't for him, there probably wouldn't have been somebody like a Marvin Gaye and other ones.
No, not at all.
Sam Cooke was the man.
And Lou Rawls left us much too early. But
Yeah.
what I saw him. Yeah, I did an interview with him years ago, and you'll love this. I asked him a trivia question. I said, "Here's a question for you. What's unique about the song Moonlight in Vermont?" I said, "This is a question you'll never know." And he goes, "That's good. You'll never know. That's good." You know the answer?
No, I don't.
There are no rhymes. That's why the song's so difficult to remember. It's pennies in a stream. Da 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 da.
I never even thought of that.
Anyway,
This guy's a genius.
so did you ever see Marvin Gaye?
Not live.
Yeah,
I'm,
not
oh
live.
man, I'm so sorry. And he performed here in the Bay Area
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say, yeah.
Matter of fact, the last
He
show
died
he
in
did,
the late '70s.
Yeah.
Was that his dad?
His
That was the one.
dad pulled the trigger
So-
on him. He said, "I brought you in, I'll take you out."
That's right, and somebody else's dad.
My mom
pulled,
used to say that to us all the time.
Somebody else's dad pulled the trigger on Sam Cooke.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was some crazy.
You know,
stories.
Sam Cooke was, I think, the first black artist that owned his own publishing.
Yeah.
And his record label, all of that stuff. He did it all himself.
Well, you know, it's a huge baseball fan, so I often talk about young players appreciating what came before them.
Yeah.
In musicians, boy, that is such a
It's
worthwhile
huge.
thing to learn, because I mean, you look at those guys, Bo Diddley and the aforementioned Chuck Berry, and those guys were screwed so bad.
Yeah.
And everybody takes it for granted today, but I mean, my God.
But
was,
even you can even go even closer than that. I mean, you heard a group called the Gap Band
Sure.
with Charlie Wilson and all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, guys spend so much time partying
That's right.
that they don't pay attention to what's going on business-wise, and then their manager is pulling stuff behind them, and next thing you know, you don't own your song book, you don't own this, you don't own that, and you know they gave you just enough to keep you happy and not asking any questions.
James Brown owned his own rights, didn't he?
Well, maybe.
I think he did very well. Yeah, I think like Sam Cooke that he had all the publishing rights.
Yeah, he probably did. You know, I mean, there's always all kinds of crazy stories.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
music is something else, man.
Yeah. Talk about growing up. Was a lot of music in your house?
Oh my God.
Was your dad
Everywhere.
a musician or mom?
No, neither one of them. My mom sang in church and stuff all the time. I I was kind of one that stepped outside of the box in my family. We had 8 kids, and I'm number 7 out of the 8. And I always just...
So they remembered your name most of the time.
Yeah, hey, I always did stuff different. You know what? As a kid, I tell kids now, too. You know, because my son, you know, he's 26 now, but it's the kind of thing that, you know, trying to introduce him to music and trying to get him interested in it. But if you don't want to do that kind of thing or whatever it is, you know, you have to have that passion for whatever it is. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Nobody ever had to tell me to go practice or anything.
What'd your dad do?
He worked for all the hotels in in upstate New York. That's one of the ways that we got started too. He had a little singing group called Four of a Kind when I was young. I was 7 years old. I was the youngest in that group, and my dad used to get us. He used to get us gigs.
Will Maston trio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what'd your mom do? She a homemaker or what?
Yeah.
And
sang in the church. Oh yeah.
She just went to church to get out of the house.
She was a good singer too.
Yeah. All your siblings still alive?
No, we got 5 left.
Five left.
Yeah, only 5 of us
You
left.
get together?
Yeah. Matter of fact, my youngest brother, they flew out from New York. Him and his family flew out from New York yesterday. They're going to be
here?
They're going to be at the show tonight.
Wonderful. Okay, so 7 of 8 kids. Obviously, or not obviously, but you listening to a lot of rock and roll as a kid?
Not as much rock and roll
Soul,
as the Temptations and the Four Tops and
a lot of Motown.
Yeah, that and of course listening to Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Williams and all the other jazz people and stuff. You know, I listened to a lot of. In my house, there was always music going on, and everybody was playing. You know, and plus our neighbors had music pumping out of their window and.
You know what's interesting as a music fan, people will often say, well, you know, I don't like to be pigeonholed. I'm a jazz fan, but I also like standards, and I also like rock and roll on occasion. You, as an artist, do all those things.
Yeah.
You do the American Songbook with a big band.
Yeah.
You do rhythm and blues, you do rock and roll.
Everything.
You're a Renaissance man.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, you know, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Matter of fact, I told you Bob Bain came over to my house, and we were talking. We were just talking about singers, and I said, you know, I just try to mix it up. First of all, I don't like being bored with whatever I do, but I used to work at this club in San Francisco. That every time I went to the club, I never knew who the band was. Never knew who the players were, because the owner of the club used to call everybody individually and say, hey, are you available tonight on such and such a night? So I would show up, had no idea what the band was, and didn't know what kind of music these guys knew.
So you had to be ready.
So sometimes I go in there, and all these guys knew were R&B tunes, so we did that. Sometimes I go in, they knew nothing but straight ahead jazz, so it forced me to learn a lot of different stuff.
From a jazz vocalist standpoint, who was, you mentioned Sarah, who else was an influence?
Oh.
Joe Williams.
Joe Williams, my God,
Louis
Louis Armstrong,
Eckstein,
Billy Eckstein. I listened to all of that stuff, man. Everything.
Did you ever see Armstrong?
Never did.
I saw him at early 70s, 72 maybe, at San Jose City College.
Wow.
Of all places. It was.
I'll tell you one person I'd like to see before he moves to the next. I want to see Johnny Mathis. I want to see him really bad.
You know, PBS is running a thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's, what is he, 80 or something?
I got to see him live, man, before, you know, he missed so many people.
Just that vibrato, the fact that he still has that. I mean, Bennett has taken care of himself. Bennett's voice is just stupid.
Did a show with him.
So, did you? Well, as I told you, we had Antonia's daughter. Actually, she invited me up to meet him in a couple of weeks up in Davies Hall. So
yeah, we had
looking forward to saying hello. But he is astounding.
Yeah, Andre Agassi, he does this fundraiser down in Las Vegas all the time for the Las Vegas schools. Yeah. And he has it at the MGM Grand. Yeah. And one year, Tony Bennett was there, and Santana, and all kinds of, and got a chance to hang out in the dressing room with him and meet him and see him perform. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know. You can't, that kind of stuff is, you can't replace it. Once they're gone, man, that's it.
Well, you know, we talk about the rhythm and blues as well, and someone who we had 3 or 4 times here, I became fairly close with, and God, I miss him, was Mose Allison. And that was one of the great voices.
Yeah.
And one of the great presentations in our business.
Tell you. We got to, you know, you need to get to, maybe get some of these really big time folks, maybe Johnny Mathis at Jazz on the Plaza.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what.
Would
Folks
that
at
be
home,
nice?
buy about 3,000 jazz cards, and we'll talk about it. 'Cause
That would be
he's,
nice.
He's still getting the big bucks, but that'd be. Listen, I'm answering any phone calls that come in. Don't worry about that. All right, tell me about the show tonight that you just did on tape, or that that you're doing tonight. What do you got going?
We're going to do a combination of Marvin Gaye, Bill Withers, Lou Rawls, Sam Cooke, Donny Hathaway.
All right.
And it's going to be a blast.
That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see Bill Withers?
Never seen
Never
him
saw-
perform, but you know what? Except on YouTube and all that. But you know, I think he used to live here in the Bay Area.
It seems to me he did, yeah.
Somebody said he used to be a janitor at one time, before he wrote his first hit.
Really?
Now I guess he owns all the places.
What
that
was
he
his first? Was just the two of us his first hit?
No, he was
He
back
had
in
some
the,
long.
Ain't No
He was-
Sunshine and
Oh, you're right.
Use
He
Me
was
and all of those.
Kind of a contemporary of Gil Scott-Heron. Are you a Gil Scott-Heron fan?
Interesting,
Yeah.
yes,
I love
absolutely.
him. I love him. And we lost him a few years ago. But
Yeah.
What a great writer, like Marvin Gaye, like he was.
Gil was a trip, man.
All right, what do you got going? You going back in the studio? I know you're pushing the. I don't mean pushing. You're looking to get the CD.
Yeah.
Maybe get some Grammy attention.
That and
on that.
I'm working on some new stuff now I'm going to do an EP now, because you know you don't have to do the big crazy CDs like we used to. Everybody's putting out singles and stuff now, and you know, a record company support is kind of diminished everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm doing a lot of this stuff myself, and I'm having a ball right now, man. It's this freedom is cool, and I don't have anybody looking over my shoulder. And
You were saying you did a thing with a big band.
yes,
Is that a Kick big orchestra? Is that fun?
over in I do two of them now.
Yeah.
And now I do. You heard of Tommy Igoe?
Yeah.
Because I've done a lot of stuff with him here in the Bay Area, but the thing in New Zealand I did with Roger Fox big band.
Right. And
Roger Fox is-
Roger's coming to Monterey this year.
He's coming to Monterey this year,
Okay.
and I'll be down at the Monterey Jazz
I'll
Festival.
see you down there. That'd be
because
fun.
I'm be working with Chester Thompson on that Sunday at the Jazz
We
Festival.
got a couple of minutes left. Bucket list. Tell me that what you'd like to record, or where you'd like to go, or how tall you'd like to be. Give me an idea.
Well, I wanted to be like 6'5", but that's not going to happen. I'm trying to think. You know, I was thinking one of the things on the bucket list I got out of the way, the swimming thing.
Yeah, you've started swimming.
Oh man, I love it. It's been like 8 months into it, and I'm like, why did I wait
Great
so long to do
conditioning.
this? There might be some other things on that bucket list, but you know what? I think I'm doing all of those right now.
You did the Ray Charles experience.
Still doing it.
Still doing that.
Yes.
Anybody else in the back of your mind? You know who we ought to do literally a themed program?
No. That's you know, those two are a lot. And we got, you know, Chris Kane, of course,
Sure.
and that Ray Charles Project band, and
Okay. You're not going to do the Cosby thing, right?
no.
That is. Thank you, brother. Good seeing you, my man.
You too.
Hey. That is that is jazz tonight. Tony Lindsay and the Soul Soldiers at the Plaza. If you missed it, it was terrific, and I hope you enjoyed the show. This is one talented gentleman.
Don't miss it.
Actually, if you've seen it, it was probably 5 talented
Yes.
gentlemen as well. That's Jazz Tonight. Thank you for watching, and a big thank you to O'Connor Hospital, a member of Verity Health. As always, we appreciate you being part of the show and taking a moment to tune in. Big thank you to Melissa Torn, my executive producer here at KCAT, to the staff and the gang here, because this production values and the quality of what they do is just not to be compared. Until next week, I'm Michael Jacobi. Take care.
In other words,